another interesting episode of the Women series where we capture developments and stories that impact women. I am live at the Windy's 20th annual conference celebrating legacy, and I'm so excited to be here. Looking forward to all of the things that will be discussed today with regards to women, creating a legacy, women supporting women, and all the things that has to be offered today. I hope you join me in this journey, and looking forward to all of the things that we'll discuss today. Thank you, and join me.
We'll be speaking about is owning the future, women in leadership. And we're honored to have the amazing head of service, Dr. Falashade Yemi. So thank you so much. It's good to see you here, ma'am. Because she would have preferred to do online. We said, no, please come. We want to see you one on one. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you. And of course, the amazing Mrs. Audrey Ezigbo, the Deputy MD Falcon Corporation Limited. So you are a powerful woman, and I don't say the word casually because I've met people who have been inspired by the things that you do. But it didn't just happen that way. How are you able to build yourself? Because we're talking about, owning the future, women in leadership. You are a woman in leadership, and you have over the years shown and proven to people why you're deserving of being called to. In what ways are you ensuring that the future that we speak about, the older people who are coming, the younger ones who are coming, how are you ensuring that they also, learn from you and are able to be bold to take decisions and face circumstances, irrespective of what it is, to become who you desire to be in life?
When I look at my life, I see that I have been shaped and formed by women, strong women at that. I come from a family, ultimately 10 children, but the first batch of us, there were 7, and only 2 boys. My mom was a strong woman. She was a woman who is a woman who does business, does different ventures. And I got used to just seeing women taking on territory. And my father wasn't also the man who ever said, you can't do this, you're a woman, you can't do that, you're a woman. So we were trained, like Mr. Peterside referred to, we're trained to believe you can be the best. And in fact, that was what it was. It was aim for the sky, nothing less. Now, coming out into a world where you found that that wasn't quite as easily achieved because there were pushbacks. It was a learning experience for most of us. I think I came out, I probably finished university before I actually began to see gender discrimination playing out. It just wasn't in my frame of reference. As God would have it, I also then found myself in an industry that is largely male dominated. I mean, I walked into meetings with my staff and I was asked to wait, that there was not enough room in the meeting room. So, and then my staff had to say, no, she's my boss. Because the assumption by both men and women was that I was the accompaniment. I've actually been told once that, what was it he said? I'm actually, madam, you're actually smart. I thought you were just a pretty face. Yes, I've been told that. I've been told all sorts of things. And every time those things happened, rather than just getting upset in the moment, I chose to then think to myself, if this is happening with me that owns my business, what might other women be facing out there? And what can I do with this? And that's why very intentionally, I have made sure that even in my own organization, when it comes to recruitment, my HR people know me. You don't present me only men. I don't care what the position is. I want to see the female candidates. My management is diverse. My board is diverse. And then I look at my daughter. I have 4 children. I have 1 girl and 3 boys. All right. And I'm looking at my daughter and I'm thinking, this could be any other young woman out there. I have to be intentional about creating a world where she's not having to have some of these conversations where everything's about how she looks. And, well, let me not go into those details. We know these things. Now, what I have found also is that, in a sense, without realizing it, a lot of us are socialized into accepting some things that also then position us as being a bit seemingly powerless. There are things we just, oh my gosh. Okay, so we wake up in the morning and some of us, our only agenda, please, I'm sorry, I'm going to offend some people, but this is our truth. We wake up and the agenda is to look hot, is to sleep. I'm sorry, can we be real? And there is a challenge with this. There's nothing wrong with looking good. I'm the #1 advocate for that. But unfortunately, without realizing it, we sometimes, in some cases, then step back from positions of power because we identify power with suits and ties. and we identify ourselves with slaves. And there's a challenge with that, and we have to change that narrative. And so I have intentionally tried to talk to young women in different fora to say, look good, but what are you doing? Intellectual capacity, how are you taking on territory in your industry, in your business, in your organization? How are you showcasing that you're not just a pretty face, you're also a brain? And that has meant that I have had to put myself out more so than before as I've gotten older. I don't want to be disconnected from the younger generation. I want to understand what their pain points are. And then I want to be able to take off my learning, positive and negative, and have these conversations on different platforms that allows another young woman there to start thinking, how can mine be different? But I think that, and maybe I anchor my initial comments around this, is to say, especially for those of us that are running businesses, you must be intentional about creating space for women. If you're running an organization and you're sitting in an interview and a man or another woman asks the question, are you done having children? I don't tolerate it in my company. What has that got to do with the competence of the woman? You kill some of those things. You make sure that you're, let's engage with her for her mind and for her potential. Let's make sure that when we have our companies, we create women's networks where you're trying to facilitate interactions amongst your female staff and that they're always learning and growing sessions. So those kinds of things that boost the confidence of the next woman. As we get more senior, as our profiles are rising, is also then intentionally making yourself authentic and accessible. Because we hear a lot from the younger women that, oh, these older women, we can't access you, you people don't talk to us, and so on and so forth. I try to demystify that by just being real. And one of the realest ways is to show your failings. Show when you are scared. I don't know who else in this room is so in control of her life that she's never scared. We're always scared. And when you learn to do life afraid and you're open about it, the younger women who are watching you realize that, okay, she's done all these great things, but she's also admitting that every day is a journey. Every day is a journey, and she's just trying to do her best afraid. I push because I believe my life matters, that I have an assignment on my life, and that I'm fearfully and rather wonderfully made, if I say so myself. I own it. Every woman here should. But that said, let's get past the constructs that make us feel that we cannot engage with the younger generation. They make their mistakes, we made ours as well, and take our collective learnings and help women to take a stronger stand. I literally believe when there are more competent, able women who work in partnership and the men are seeing it happen, they are less averse to seeing women in teams, and they're actually, they're more open, like Mr. Peter said, to competencies and making room for women, in the different fields of endeavor, whatever it might be. If I could have achieved the things I did in my sector, I don't see why any other woman can. And I can promise you, I did it afraid every single day.
The office of the head of the civil service of the Federation is responsible for the leadership, the management, and capacity development of the Federal Civil Service, which is, of course, the engine room for implementing federal policies and programs. In what ways is your office aiding the implementation of programs for the betterment of Nigeria?
Over the years, the general perception about civil servants and public servants is that we're not working as well as we should be. So the office, with the new administration, the President Buhari's administration, the Office of the Head of Service actually came up with a strategic plan to ensure that civil servants meet up to the expectations. The first plan ended in 2020. It ran from 2017 to 2020. And when I came in, it was at the tail end of that plan. And then we did a review of that plan to see if we've been able to achieve what we wanted in the civil service. And we saw that there was more to be done. So we started working on a successor plan that we just concluded recently. And the successor plan came out from a lot of stakeholder meetings. We wanted Nigerians to tell us what we're not doing so well, how they want the public service to work. And so the new plan, which is the Federal Civil Service Strategy and Implementation Plan 2021 to 2025, actually has 6 pillars. The first is to ensure capability building. we want to. For me, that is even the key. If that is the only pillar that we're able to work on and improve capacity of civil servants, then we would have done a lot. The second is performance management. In the civil service, what we have right now doesn't work. We still use the upper system. And so we want to transit into a proper performance management system where every civil servant has targets and you are measured against those targets before you can get promoted. That sounds very strange, but we're working at it, and we have some partners that are working with us on it. We also want to transit from a paper system to a digital system. So we are working on transforming all our processes from paper-based into digitally based. And the main office of the head of service, by the grace of God, by the end of this year, we will have transited completely. And we're insisting that all ministries should follow suit. And all ministries are actually working at doing that also. We're also looking at innovation. You know, people say the civil service doesn't want to become modern, but within us, we're looking at ways by which we can do things better. We had an innovation competition among public servants sometime last year during COVID. We were able to engage civil servants that were sitting at home by this innovation competition. And we got some very good ideas that we're now implementing. So innovation is also a very strong thing that we're driving at. We're also looking at the welfare of civil servants. Even when you have trained, we've also discovered that when you spend a lot of money training civil servants, the private sector comes and plucks them out, and then we have to start all over again. So we also want to ensure that civil servants are well paid, and they also have a lot of perks around them we want them to sit and stay in the civil service. So we're looking at staff welfare, their housing, their transportation, even health and safety at work. We want the group life assurance to work much better. So we're looking at those 6 pillars to ensure that the civil service becomes what the expectation of everybody.
Were there people who doubted your ability to sit in this honorable office, and how have you proven them wrong?
With regards to my appointment as Director General of the agency, the Gas State Investment Promotion Agency, if there were people that doubted my ability to that role, I haven't heard. I don't want to hear. I don't care. So something that's important is for you to have the support of your principal. I have the support of my governor, who has seen my ability to do many things, my experience, my antecedents. I have the support of the chairman of the Investigar, that's our brand name, Investigar Council, who is the deputy governor. And you know, funny thing is, in the Northwest, 3 of the investment promotion agencies in the Northwest were, until just a few weeks ago, headed by women. Kano, Kaduna, and Jigawa State. Unfortunately, just a few weeks ago, the Kaduna ES, Umar Aboki, was giving a new portfolio. So even there, they appreciate the fact that women are doing what they are doing and are capable of holding their positions. But really, even if there were people that doubted my capacity, I didn't notice, and I wouldn't have noticed, and I wouldn't have cared.
Why do we have few women on board? What is it that we are not doing right? Because we are doing a lot of things that are right. So is there something we are missing? Do we have enough women on board? If the answer is no, why? Then what do women need to do to make them viable for that position?
It was Wimbys that gave me the nudge or the push to be out there, and I'll explain later. So my background, I have a master's in crop physiology, I have a master's in rural development, I have a master's in international development management, scholarship from the World Bank. I was on the editorial board of the Leadership newspaper. I was on the Council on Agriculture, Kaduna State, and nobody knew me. Nobody knew me because I didn't want to be known. I would be asked to, okay, maybe present a paper somewhere on something, and I would say, I'm not interested in doing that. But when I joined the Wimbys, first of all, attending the activities, I saw what women could do, but then Wimbys gave me a nudge whereby I now joined the Board of Union Bank as an independent director. So why I'm saying this is because really we need to be more visible. And it is a disservice. And that's why now I do this. On the 29th of this month, I have a paper to present on women entrepreneurs driving the economy, but in the northern part of the country. I have a TED Talk in January. I'm doing this because I feel it is really a disservice if you have all that and you sit back and refuse to contribute. And you're not contributing financially, but you're contributing your knowledge, your experience, and you're contributing your visibility, because when you're now visible, those younger women, especially from my part of the country, like I said, I'm representing here women here, but I'm going to give my experience, will see me and say, yes, I can do it too. And now what I try to do is talk a lot. If you know my female children, you know, because I push them as one. One has a PhD, she's in a research, working in a research institute. One has a social enterprise, and she's sitting on nearly $1 million worth of funding. She just established, I think Hansat Meta, she just established her Kenya branch of the business. And I think it's because of what they see in me. You know, I push. One problem we have is women second guess themselves. You actually never believe that you can do something. You know, I look at men. Sometimes I look at a man that does not have my experience, my qualifications, my expertise. And there's this position. That man would go for that position with the nothingness in terms of experience that he has. You know, a woman, you know, and I think it cuts across. You know, a woman would be sitting down doing calculations. Do I want to take the chance? What if they tell me no? You know, what I've realized is, at most they tell you no. Nobody is going to slap you, beat you, or insult you for trying to get that opportunity. So I think we should stop second guessing ourselves. Another thing is, like she said, and I align with that, is the fact that culturally, traditionally, as you're growing in your career, mid-level career, women just leave because so many things are happening. You know, by the time you get to that senior level where you exit and serve on a board, there are fewer women there. But another thing we miss is that now, especially now with all kinds of the SEC code, and even with CBN for the financial sector, you have to have a certain percentage of women there. Yes, and I'm all for affirmative action for women until such a time that we are at par in terms of numbers on boards, in politics and all that. I'm all for affirmative action. I don't apologize for that because we are discriminated upon naturally. You're there, the first thing after your appointment to a certain position is people assume that you may not be capable because maybe it's connections, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. Hell, if it was a man there, he would be there with connection, I'm sure. But nobody cares, nobody would ask. But you know what I do is, for me, I don't know if there are many people from Jigawa coming from Jigawa here, is I've earned myself the respect. I'm just a director general, you have commissioners and all that. I earn my respect. Nobody plays with me.
And we have come to the end. Owning the Future, Women in Leadership. I hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as I did. I mean, one key takeaway would be beyond gender, the conversation should be more about agenda, owning a purposeful life, living purposefully. And as opposed to driving conversations around women being the best, it should be about women being the best. Competence, driving confidence, driving courage, and all this that comes with it. If you've got questions, if you've got comments, and you'd like to reach out to me, you can do that by reaching out at iomide.okotoya@crochetny.com. Do follow us on all our social media platforms showing on the screen. Just like I said the other time, that hopefully we have more events to come. Maybe this is just birthing more events to come. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.